Hey guys, ClintOnRickLindard.com, and of course the House of Biceps. Alright guys, I am here at the House of Biceps today because a good friend of a great friend of mine is having some issues with his deadlift. Now I do want to walk him through this. He is a great weightlifter, at least was a great weightlifter. Now he's more involved with CrossFit. He is a Masters athlete. He's very competitive nationally in Masters CrossFit. And he's decided just to sign up for a powerlifting competition, but he's having some issues specifically with the deadlift, and he's working around a couple of injuries. So this is me giving you a little bit of advice, a little bit of help. Now keep in mind that English is definitely not his first language. I know English is not your first language. I'm going to try to make this as understandable as possible. And I want you to keep in mind that I could find 20 things wrong with your deadlift technique, but going in depth and telling you all 20 things wrong will probably confuse you and make the lift so complicated that you will not be able to do the lift at all. It would be like you giving me advice on my snatch or my clean and jerk. There are so many problems that if you tried to fix all of them at once, well, I would be so confused I wouldn't be able to do anything. But if you just picked out the 1, 2, or 3 major things that I'm doing wrong and helped me fix those things, well, everything else would probably just fix itself. What I want to look at right off the bat is your setup. Now, you are a weightlifter, and I think I understood correctly that you maybe at least could clean pull or clean deadlift a lot more than you can deadlift. Now, I do believe you've had a back injury, a very, very bad back injury that prevents you from still doing this. If you can clean pull or clean deadlift more than you can sumo or conventional powerlifting deadlift, then do that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing incomplete. It's still a good lift. But if you're working around your back, and I think that you are, then there are a couple of steps that you can do so you can deadlift big, you can deadlift safe, and you can deadlift big numbers. Now to start, you do need to pick up a proper powerlifting belt. Most people, and I don't mean like I have an Eleiko belt back here that's really thin in the front. Now a lot of people think that you get a belt to support your back, and you want the fat part in the back. That's actually incorrect. What you want is an extra layer of thick abs right here in the front. And on top of all that, you don't want that belt to be super tight. When I put my belt on for deadlifts, my belt is actually loose. It is actually loose here. So whenever I bend down, I push my belly out and expand to create tension. Now, if I had this super tight, when I bent down, my waist would have to get smaller. I don't want a small waist to deadlift. I want to think about this like the pyramids. I want the biggest base, the strongest base possible. And all of the hinging, the moving on the deadlift comes from the hips going here. And that bend, the part where there's no, let's say, bones, is here in your abs. So I want this not to be in and squeezed. I want it to be out and against that belt. So you need to get a good belt. It doesn't have to be just like this one, but it needs to be fat in the front. It does not need to be super tight, and you need to learn to press out against it. Now, keep in mind, I am not a good sumo deadlifter. I am a conventional deadlifter, and the best deadlifters of all time have all been very athletic people. They're not slow, fat, unathletic people. The best deadlifters can generally jump run, you're doing handstand push-ups, you are a natural athlete and a hard worker. So there's no reason why your deadlift shouldn't be really, really big. Now, we can look at your stance and we can change your stance. It looks to me like your stance is somewhere around here. Keep in mind, you can go out as wide as possible. They make special deadlift bars that are extra wide inside, so you can go out even wider. You want to make sure you're not putting too much pressure on your hips, and you want to make sure that you can use your hamstrings. Now my sumo deadlift stance would be out as wide as possible. I am a tall guy with really, really long arms as well. But what I want you to think about when you're deadlifting is present your chest. When I watched your deadlift video, you were down here. You were lifting and you had your face down or even here. I want you to think about every photo or video that you've ever seen of somebody doing a big deadlift. You can always see their chest, and it's presented like they're Superman on the front of their chest. Boom, expanded. Their head is up or it's facing because you're looking at the referee waiting for the down signal. So you have to present your chest even at the bottom. So when you get set up, however you set up, make sure that when you start that lift, you are not here. You have to start that lift. I can't get into position, but you have to start that lift with your chest presented and you're faced forward. There are a lot of things that we can do to determine how wide you need to take your stance. What I want you to consider is to take the stance width that allows you to present your chest in front, and that allows you, as you come up, to curl with the hamstrings. I want you to think about, as you stand up, and I know that it sounds crazy, but as you stand up with the weight, you're not using your lower back to stand up. You should be using your hamstrings in this motion. If your foot was stuck to the ground in that sumo deadlift, you should be trying to pull this way as you stand up. That's going to activate, it's going to make your hamstrings work, make your abs work, and keep everything into position. So however you're set up, and I've got mats here, but when you set up and you start the lift, when you come up, hamstring curl and through. Okay, what I'm seeing from you is you are here, out in front, and you're trying to lift with your lower back. What I want is present, knees out, and hamstring curl. I know it sounds strange, but the moment that you try to use your hamstrings and curl on the way up, it's going to take that pressure off your lower back. You're going to be able to use your abs. You're going to have more weight on the bar. Now let's get over here to the board. I want to show you some diagrams. All right, we're here at the whiteboard here. I want to show you a couple of things maybe that'll help you understand the setup and the technique of the deadlift just a little bit better. Now, what I'm seeing from you on the deadlift, I want you to look at everything like a triangle. So here we have your foot. Here we have your hips. And here is where your shoulders are at. That creates a triangle. Now, this isn't completely accurate. That is the floor. And we're going to say that the barbell is somewhere around here. Now, that's not a bad position for a clean. But what I want you to think about is that barbell, if the barbell has all the weight right here at this spot, that's where all the weight is. And that's going to go straight up. And I know on the cleans, your knees are going to be bent right here a little bit. And that's going to bring your hips in. But that weight, as you go to pull right there, as that bar goes up, it's putting stress on your lower back. Now I want you to contrast that with the way that I deadlift and the way a power lifter deadlifts. And this is the way that every CrossFit person who has ever come to my gym, and I'm talking more than 20 people, this is the way that every CrossFitter who's come to my gym has been taught within their level 1 CrossFit certification on how to deadlift, with the shoulders over in front of the barbell. It's completely incorrect. What I want you to look at is, here is your foot, and I want you to take your shoulder and put your shoulder ever so slightly behind the barbell, and then I want you to put your hips back here to create a triangle like this. This is the floor. That's the barbell. And the barbell's new path is going to be right there. Okay? Now you are using your body to pull the weight back. And the center point of this, where all the pressure is going to be, is no longer going to be on your back here or back here, because you're still going to have some bend in your knees. But as you stand up, the hips are going to be moving forward, the shoulders are already back, and you're taking the pressure off of your back. On this lift, you are using your back to lift. And that's not how you're going to most effectively lift the most weight without getting injured. With your shoulders behind the barbell, you're going to be using your hamstrings and your hips and your abs to lift the weight, and not your low back. Now in the sumo deadlift, as you're setting up, the same principle applies. This is your feet. The idea with a sumo deadlift is you can widen your stance out, and that will drop your hips. So instead of your hips being here, your hips might be down a little bit. But you still have your shoulders out in front of the bar, and your hips are here. So that still puts everything on your back. There's the bar, there's the floor. If you sumo deadlift, now all you have to do right there is get your shoulders behind the bar and present your chest. That's it. Present your chest, and that automatically gives you your foot, hips, shoulders, and the triangle is like so. There's the floor, there's the barbell. The bar goes in a straight line, and ideally there's a very short range of motion. All you have to do is push your knees out, present your chest, and push your hips through. So what I want you to see is, this is how a conventional deadlift is set up. This is how your sumo deadlift is set up. This is how I want you to set up your conventional deadlift, your normal deadlift. And this is how I want you to set up your sumo deadlift. The only thing that I want you to do is to consider presenting your chest. Stick that chest out like it's got Superman on the front. Get your head up, push your knees out, push your belly out against your belt, and use all that to get your shoulders behind the bar and allow you to use your hamstrings to lift the weight. So wrapping it up, I know that everyone thinks that the deadlift is a very easy lift, that you just grab the bar and pull really hard. But the deadlift is a very, very technical lift. And what makes a big deadlift very special is that you have to be a little crazy to lift a big weight. And being totally crazy and doing everything technically perfect at the same time, as you know, as a good weightlifter, is very difficult to do. So work on one thing at a time. Present that chest, use the hamstrings, push your belly against your belt, and get your shoulders behind the bar, and I think you are going to be deadlifting some big weight, my friend. I can't wait to see what you do in the near future. Thanks, and we'll talk soon.